Hello again, ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs. I'm Dominion from Two Perfect Gents, and today is August 16th, 2012. And today I bring you another game review. I just finished playing Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine. Really long name. Gets me every time. I usually just call it 40K, so if I'm in the middle of talking and you hear me say 40K, you'll know that I'm talking about the game. It's good to be back. I want to go ahead and start by opening with the new t-shirt that I'm going to be wearing probably for most of these podcasts, as well as MLG and other events. We got this bad boy right here, repping the Two Perfect Gents. Yep. The Promise and Raykazi. For those of you that don't know, Raykazi is our technical guy. He does a lot of the website stuff, the web design, and things of that nature. And when we have problems with our computers, he fixes them. So, what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is some of the playthrough that I had with the game. I want to do the same thing like I did with Prototype and start you off with just the beginning trailer. And then from there, you can kind of get an idea as to how the game actually goes. And so that you have some sort of grasp on who I'm talking about when I'm talking about them. So let's go ahead and get into that real quick and enjoy.
Captain Titus, the Orcs have massacred the Forge World's forces. And they have taken the planetary defense weapons.
Clever of the damned Orcs. Keeps us off their backs while they loot the Titan war machines.
Brace for evasive maneuvers.
Pilot, report!
Starboard engine is dead, Sergeant. We're losing altitude.
Get the ship to safety. Find another way down.
Aye, Captain. Thunderhawk Lancer 12 returning to launch bay.
this is your plan.
We need to get to the surface to take out the gun battery. Or do you want to go home already, Sergeant?
Not before having a word or two with the orcs.
Is that wise, Captain? The Codex Astartes does not support this action.
Try to keep up.
Alright, and that was the opening cinematic. From here you start off with just a basic saw blade, and you work your way up to what I'll get into this much later, but you work your way up into multiple different melee weapons like the chain sword and the power axe, and the mystery weapon. I'm going to leave it a mystery weapon because I really want... If you guys do play the game, I want you to say the ooh and ah that I did whenever you came upon these weapons. I think that the chain sword and the power axe are so close in terms of how they operate, just a difference in speeds, that it's really negligible for me to, care if you hear about it or not. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the storyline. The storyline for this game was really in depth. It was an amazing storyline. I've personally never played or read anything on Warhammer 40k, so this was a completely new experience for me, and I'm starting to think that maybe it might be a good idea that I start buying some of these comic books or books out there, and maybe start reading up on it, because if the entire series is anything like this game, I mean, I'm gonna sit in here for a couple of years and just read my book, or read multiple books for that matter. The storyline basically goes a little bit like this. You, as you can see, you're supposed to stop the gun battery, and you eventually do. You reach your objective. And then you find out that there's a Inquisitor, who's what they would call a psyker, and it's basically just somebody with psychic abilities. And Titus Leonis, I think his name is, and Sidonis. I know I'm getting one of their names wrong, and that's fine, because they're weird. So... I call Sidonis, which was the guy on the right with the one white eye, I call him Antoine Hopkins because he looks like Anthony Hopkins to me. So I just decided, why not? I'm just going to call him Antoine. And it made for some funny jokes over Skype between me and the Promise. I'm yelling, Antoine, get the hell out of the way, and he's laughing. So But anyway, back to what I was talking about. You come across this servitor skull, and it's basically just a floating skull. If you can imagine Star Wars R2-D2 with the hologram, a servitor skull is a floating skull that does the same thing. It records video and then puts it back out as a hologram. So you find this servitor skull. And I'm not going to tell you anything that goes beyond the demo, by the way, because, again, I don't want to ruin the storyline for you guys. You take the servitor skull, and you press forth, and you find the Inquisitor, and the whole purpose is now for you to try to wipe out the orcs off the planet. The orcs, if you didn't notice, were the large... Well, you'll see it on the main screen. I didn't show you guys, but the orcs are these large green guys. There's different levels of orcs. There's these small goblins almost, the medium-sized orcs, and then you have the larger orcs which have these metallic armor, I guess, on rather than leather. and they carry a one-handed mace that does devastating amounts of damage to you if you let them get close enough. And you're supposed to fight all of these guys off using this one weapon. And a majority, I would say about half the game is spent just trying to push your way through to the manufactorum so that you can shoot off this bolt that's supposed to eliminate all of the orcs. However, it doesn't, and I'm going to leave you with that cliffhanger because, again, I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. The storyline was very engrossing. I loved every second of it. The way that everything just kind of molded together, I liked the fighting style. The amount of blood and gore was fantastic. For those of you that have listened to me before or heard some of my prior casts, I'm really big on barbarians and things that do a lot of damage really fast and hit really hard and cause a lot of chaos. So for the most part, this game for me was really awesome. The amount of technical difficulty that they had to put into the AI. The orcs were actually, and all of the enemies that you face throughout the game were actually fairly smart. Now, they're not Rage smart. I don't know if some of you guys have played Rage or not, but these guys are fucking insane, right? They grab onto chandeliers, do backflips, and land on you with pipes, or they'll jump up on top of a bookshelf or something and start shooting at you. They're not that smart, thank God. They are smart, though. If you're shooting at them, they'll run side to side to side to side. If you are attacking them, they will form a circle around you and try to swamp down on you, and a lot of times it works. So even though the gameplay you would think is just kind of like I'm just going to hack and slash my way through this, just run in, boom, start taking stuff out, sometimes there's some strategy involved to it. And I really like that aspect, to be honest with you. I don't like games where the whole purpose is just to do this humdrum attack and then you pound. Prototype 2, perfect example. You just kind of kill things, absorb things, and then you're done. However, in this game, I do want to also mention that in terms of the fighting mechanics, the way that you have to get health is pretty similar to Prototype, except you go through an execution phase. Okay, so you stun a target, you grab a hold of them, you go through your execution, and then you get your health. Any damage done to you while you're doing this hurts you. So if I have 4 or 5 orcs around me and I choose now to absorb somebody to get my health back, I'm probably going to die. Let's just put it that way. That part for me sucked at first until you kind of get the hang of it. And also, as you progress, your purity seals, which I'll get to later, upgrade, and it gives you health back faster. So, for the most part, the storyline was phenomenal. I have no regrets playing through it. I haven't gotten to play the multiplayer yet. I intend to give it a shot at least once. With Spec Ops The Line being a third-person shooter as well, I tried to do it in that game, and it didn't fly for me. So I'll give it another shot with Space Marine. Hopefully it'll be awesome. I'm really hoping for it. But anyway, back to the storyline. All the way through the game, I don't think that I ever once was like, I'm bored. Which is great. There's not too many games anymore that can do that for us. At least not for me. I feel like our industry has hit a serious brick wall, and we just, we're not getting through it. However, every now and again you get a really good game that sneaks through, and in this case, Warhammer's one of them. as you saw, they spent probably a lot of their cinematic talent at the very beginning of the cinematic there that you just saw, and then once you get into the part where Titus is getting ready to jump out with his two Ultramarine brothers, and they're going to jump out and use the jetpacks to get the safety. Well, their safety, but not the orcs' safety. Poor orcs. So they land, and they start wreaking havoc, and that's pretty much the game. You go objective to objective, and every time you get to an objective, there's a plot twist. It seems like there was something that happened, whether it be something that you hear in a character's voice. You start to not trust people. You start to think, well, I think that he's going to turn on me at some point, but I can't be sure because he's still being loyal to me. So there's all of those aspects that go along with it. And, some of the guys do, some of them don't. Some of them are actually your buddy until the very end, and, it's all gravy. But some of them actually do end up turning on you, and it made for a very interesting game. It's I would actually classify this as like a playable movie, where your hero is an action star that's dressed up like Buzz Lightyear. I'm sorry, Warhammer fans. It looks like the suit that they wear looks like a decorated Buzz Lightyear suit without the helmet. I mean, that's just my opinion. And you plow through orcs and other enemies all the way to the end of the game, and the storyline is great, the plot twists are fantastic, and I wouldn't have the game any other way. And I really hope that they come up with a sequel. I'm sure they will, because the end of the game kind of leaves you on a cliffhanger. A really big cliffhanger, actually. They definitely left the game open for another one. So, looking forward to seeing it. Hope it comes from Relic and THQ again, because they did phenomenal job. Alright, so let's move on to the gameplay. There was times in the game where I really felt like the fight mechanics were kind of bad. And I'll explain. You have a dodge roll, and you can roll backwards, side to side, or forwards. And there was times where I'd get caught up with that big Space Marine suit. I would get caught up on some obstacles, like broken rubble on the floor, or boxes, ammo crates, things of that sort. And you really don't want to be in that position sometimes. Because there are times where you have enemies running at you with very large weapons, and they're swinging them around like madmen, and you just need to get the hell out of there. And you can't. You get caught up on something, they smack you once, maybe twice, and you're still, fiddling around with the space bar and the keys trying to move. And it sucks. I'm not going to lie. It really upset me sometimes. So, that said, that's the only negative thing that I have about the gameplay. The only negative thing. The camera angles are fine. The way that the guns are customizable, and by customizable, some of you are probably thinking, well, okay, let's not call it customizable. Let's say that your loadout is customizable. Okay, you can choose your melee weapon the further into the game you get. You can choose your ranged weapon the further into the game that you get. And you can also you also get upgrades for those weapons. So it's not something that you would apply per se. You just come up to an ammo crate, you open it, it says you get the newest weapon upgrade for the bolter, and you're like, sweet, awesome, so now it does more damage. At least now it makes more sense that I still have it. Because there's two guns that you cannot replace during the game, and that is your pistol and your SMS. I'm going to call it SMS. I think I'm wrong, but we'll call it SMS. It's a close quarter combat rifle. We'll just leave it at that, like the M16 if it with the fully automatic. So, that being said, it made for really interesting fights, and you always got a save point right at an ammo crate. If you ever, while playing this game, come across a supply depot or a weapons depot, just immediately know that your games are going to save and that you're about to get into some shit. Okay? That's basically the end of that. You walk through a door and you're like, oh, this isn't too bad, and then all of a sudden just everything is coming and you're like, I don't know what to do. Dodge this way, dodge that way, shoot this guy, shoot that guy. It's nuts. And like I said, it's the perfect action film if they decided to make an action film out of it, or even an anime. And shoot, maybe they do. I don't know. I haven't looked into it too much yet. So, let's go ahead and talk about some of the weapons that I was talking about. For melee weapons, like I mentioned earlier, you get the chain sword and the power axe. The chain sword is kind of like a medium speed weapon. You swing it with a basic speed of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the power axe, however, is more like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you can think of it like, I don't know if you guys do that or not. I do. I do that counting thing in my head, and I'm like, oh yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I just kicked his ass. Game's over. So that's basically the differences between the two. And there's a third one, and I would tell you, but you'll have to figure it out for yourself as you play the game. Because I'm trying so hard to make you play this game right now by leaving you with so many cliffhangers on how awesome it is. Okay? The finger. I'm giving you the finger. The wavy finger. Play it. Ranged weapons. Now, I'm not going to go into all of them because there's quite a few of them. We're just going to talk about my favorites. And I've got them written down because there's 4. There's 4 of them. The first one is the Stalker Bolter. It's a powerful, fully automatic, lightweight combat rifle. This is the machine gun that I was telling you about earlier. It's got 350 round ammo slots at 25 apiece, I think, so you can fire 25 at a time. It's not per second, it's just you have a magazine full of 25 bullets, and you can fire those. And then the reload times are they're reasonable. They're not out of the question. I will say that with the plasma rifle or the plasma gun, considering the amount of damage it does, I'm okay with it overheating. But I don't like the fact that I lose 10 charges. We'll get to that. Okay, so I use the Stalker Bolter a lot throughout the entire game. It makes for good long range and short range if you know how to throttle the trigger. It made for really good long range shooting, really good short range shooting, mid range perfect. It's just an all around awesome weapon, and I couldn't live without it, to be honest with you. Not in the game. So let's move on to the next one. It's the plasma gun. It's a heavy duty gun. There's a multitude of these throughout the entire game, and you have to. This is one that is customizable to your loadout, so you can switch out depending on the boss fight. So, and I just want to delve into what I was talking about a little bit earlier. When it saves and you go in, and if you fail the boss, like you go in and you try to kill him and you fail, and it starts you back at the weapon depot, just change your loadout. Just change it. Try something else. Because more than likely, if you go, I bet you that guy has a shitload of health, and I can take him down if I use the plasma gun instead of X gun. And you switch it out and you try it and it works. this is another aspect that was kind of sketch for me, because I didn't like the fact that I was wasting so much time playing through the same thing over and over and over again, trying out different loadouts. So, I don't know. It still made for an interesting game. I'm not complaining so much as I am just saying that it was kind of annoying. So anyway, plasma gun. It has when it fully charges, it emits 10 rounds into one charge, and you when you let it go, it flies through the air, and whatever it hits pretty much disintegrates. And if something's close by, it'll probably stun it or kill it, depending on whether it's a lightweight unit or a heavy unit. Moving on, we've got the melt-a-gun. It does exactly what it sounds like. It melts things. It does. It melts things. People, orcs, it melts them. You attack, and the range on it is gross. And by range, I mean span in front of you, not distance. So, if I use the melt-a-gun to attack 50 orcs that are in front of me, it's going to hit all of them if they're in a line, and in sort of a cone shape, out like this, right? So, really awesome weapon. Used it quite a bit. There was one area that I can tell you I used it on, because there were like 50 berserker orcs, and I was like, no, you are not going to make me do that. So, and I took most of them out with the 9 rounds that I have. Although I'm starting to think that the more units there are clumped up when you're attacking with it, the less damage it does, spread out. So I think it does a set amount of damage spread out amongst the different number of units that you're attacking. So be wary of that. Try to spread them out. Take them out each one at a time. So the next one is the las cannon. It's a high-powered sniper rifle laser. Takes out heavy armored units in no time flat. 2 shots, they're down. Was a really good weapon. Used it when I needed to. Yeah. Because, you know, I don't see a reason for me to have a sniper rifle on me at all times. It didn't make sense with the bolter. It didn't make any sense. All right, and then your purity seal. Now, we brought this up a little bit earlier. Sorry for the autocorrect on the cam there. The purity seal is what I would consider a Super Saiyan form for the Ultra Marines. It's very brief. It probably lasts 45 seconds. The later into the game you get, it lasts a little bit longer. And the charge time it takes for you to fill that up is no time flat. And as you can probably figure, for most of you hardcore gamers out there, every time you kill something, it helps fill up your purity seal. So I used this every time I got late game. Every time it was up, I was using it. It helped out quite a bit, except for the last boss fight. But I'm not going to tell you about that either. And basically, it turns you into a super ultra marine. You do twice the amount of damage. On your 5th swing, your Devastator attack, it pretty much demolishes anything in your path, and it regenerates your health. Unfortunately, it does not regenerate your shields. I wish it did, but then again, the game would be too easy at that point. So whatever, it was fine. So that's all I've got for right now, as far as all that goes. So let's go ahead and delve into the graphical aspect and the music aspect of this whole thing. Now, graphics, they're good. They're good. I went as far as to say that they were al dente, right? I'm sure some of your parents have always told you about that whenever they're cooking spaghetti. It's al dente. It means that it was just right. It's not too bad. It's not too good. It's just right. And even though the cinematics didn't use like some insane engine, and they had this really crazy producer come in and do this really crazy shit and spend all their money on just the on just this cinematic. You know, they spent most of their money on the storyline and the lore behind it and the gameplay and making sure that everything was so smooth. This game was extremely refreshing for me. I was starting to lose faith in the gaming community, or the gaming companies in general, and wow. Thank you, Relic and THQ. So, anyway, the graphics, again, okay. The music, awesome. Okay, 2 thumbs up to that. I was ears perked, mind was focused as could be. If there was an enemy on the map, I knew about it because the music changed. If I was secure, I knew about it because the music changed. And because they give you no like HUD display where you get the map overlay with the the red dots of where all your enemies are, since you don't get that, this music gives you that. So for those of you that like to listen to music while you're playing games, don't do it with this one because you will lose out on an amazing experience. It really takes me back to the days when creativity was at its prime. Like this is such a good game. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into the voice acting a little bit. The voice acting was really good. I thought personally that Russell Crowe was the one doing Titus's voice. Sounded a lot like his voice from Gladiator, but I was wrong. It was actually... No, you know what? I forget who it was. The Promise told me who it was, and it's not striking me right now, so I don't care. And I could swear to you that I think Anthony Hopkins, or somebody that tried to sound like Anthony Hopkins, did Sidonis' voice. Anyway, the voices were great. I really felt like the characters were brought out. Their personalities were really shown. And it was an overall great experience to listen to these guys talk. Titus, very stern, very fearless, and a definite leader, paving the path, telling his sergeant Sidonis, and again, I can't remember the other guy's name. It starts with an L. And he just leads them to victory every single time, and it was awesome voice acting. If any of you guys' if any of the voice actors for Warhammer are watching this right now, thank you. You made the game. Without you, the game would have been garbage. So thank you. Really appreciate that. Dude, awesome acting. Keep up the good work. Lastly, I want to talk to you about some of the side missions. Now, it's not really a mission. It's more of a challenge, I guess. The overall aspect of the game is that it's linear. Okay, so the design is that you just follow this path. You can't go around. It's not sandboxed at all. However, with the audio logs, they make it so that you don't feel like it's linear. They put these audio logs in the servitor heads or servito heads or whatever in like dark corners of the map. And you can just go around and make sure that you didn't miss it. Now, personally, when I finished the game, I missed 16 and I was upset because now I want to go back and I want to listen to them. But I can't, so boo-hoo. I'm going to cry. I'll probably play through the game again and maybe on easy mode, try to pick up all of it, and then, go from there. For those of you that are wondering, I did this on normal mode. I'm going to start doing all my games on normal mode. Generally, I do easy mode, plow through it, so I get the storyline, and if I like it, I'll play through it again on a harder difficulty. But for you guys' entertainment, I know that a lot of other gamers out there prefer to focus primarily on normal mode, so I figured I'd do the same, so I could give you a reasonable review for what you would normally play. Right, so the Servado heads. And you go through the entire game and you pick all of these up. Now, because they put them in dark corners of the rooms, you explore just a hair more, taking you off the beaten path just to find the Servado head and then go back out. And that, to me, made it feel like it wasn't so linear anymore. And I can't explain it. It was just a fascinating mechanic for me. And hopefully it will be for you guys. So, all that said, I want to try to draw this to a close now. So you're probably asking, is it worth the $30, and what would I rate it at? Okay, so, yes, it's totally worth the $30. If it was still $60, I would tell you it's totally worth the $60. If you're buying it for the PC, buy the packs, because why not? I don't know exactly what they do just yet, so I don't know why I'm telling you to buy them. But support THQ and Relic. That's why I'm telling you. Support them. And, you know, that'd be a total of $50. It's not like it put a total hole in your pocket, but who knows. So, the game is totally worth the play. It's totally worth the $30. And the replay value on it would probably be pretty good, just so that you can pick up all the audio logs and you get a feel for the backstory and things that went along during the gameplay. And, you know, so that you could try out different loadouts, things of that nature. So on a rating scale, on Dominion scale, I would rate this at a 9.3. I rated it a 9.3 instead of a 10. That's right, I would have rated this game a 10. Two reasons. And I didn't mention this in the write-up, and I apologize for that. Two reasons. When you spawn, like if I go to work and come home, I sometimes get turned around and I'll run backwards instead of running in the right linear direction, which is kind of weird. I don't know why I get turned around like that. I just do. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just can't tell directions. I don't know. And the second is the fight mechanic where you get caught up on stuff. So I thought that, you know, all the times that I died probably wasted about 2 hours of gameplay. Why not dock 0.7 points? Because you get me locked up on stuff because you gave me this huge suit. I don't... seemed reasonable enough to me, and you know, those two things together combined, I mean, 9.3 is still a really good score in my book. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Rate, subscribe. We love hearing you guys come back to us and tell us, you know, that you like what you see. If you want more content or you have any suggestions, feel free again. Add them in the comments below. And until next time, have a good night.